Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst, the most accurate mock drafter in the world. All right, so we're coming up. We're getting close. Week 1 is fast approaching. We are in prediction time of year, so I will get into my division and playoff predictions and Super Bowl prediction coming up in a video soon. But I thought I would start with a preseason prediction process with the awards. I think let's hit on who is going to come away with some of the hardware at the end of this season. So, all right, Defensive Rookie of the Year. This one was a tough one for me because, especially in defensive linemen, it can take some time for them to, really kind of get into the groove of rushing against NFL offensive tackles. There's a big jump from college to pro in that regard. So the pass rushers can make it you have some that hit the ground running, don't get me wrong, but even some of the elite guys, they're not elite that first year. It takes them a year, sometimes in the second year, before things really start clicking and they really push their game to a special level. So I gave some real consideration to James Pierce with the Falcons. I could see him really producing well potentially this year. But with that D-line kind of consideration, I ended up steering away there. I felt somewhat that you might see that possibility with with a defensive back, but again, that's another position where it can be tough to hit the ground running in the NFL. So I ended up going with Carson Schwinger, the linebacker with the Browns. I think he could produce a big season as their middle linebacker, plays in a division that runs the ball, definitely should rack up good tackle totals. I think he's an instinctive player, has a really good skill set, and I think that he could end up having a really excellent rookie season and pull off that Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Offensive Rookie of the Year award, I'm thinking Cam Ward. I don't see the Titans winning a lot of games, but I think Ward will also have the benefit of some garbage time yardage and touchdowns and whatnot. So I think at the end of the year, his numbers could end up looking pretty good. And I'm not convinced that Ashton Genty or Omarion Hampton will win the award as rookies. I could see where they might need some help in terms of learning things for the NFL and kind of split some carries with the veterans in their rooms. And so definitely I think Cam Ward has a better shot, for the numbers that often these awards go to. And then with receivers, I didn't really think there was any that jumped out at me as they're going to have a massive rookie season to win this award over a quarterback like Cam Ward. So went with him. Comeback Player of the Year, I went with Aiden Hutchinson with the Lions. I think he's going to have a monster season. I mean, I'm thinking if he stays healthy, I think he could end up coming close to around 20 sacks this year. Would not surprise me at all. I think he's going to be a complete beast for the Lions, and I think he's going to win that Comeback Player of the Year award, and I think he will stay healthy. That was kind of a freaky injury that happened last year, and he was, prior to that, very durable his first few years in the league and at Michigan. So I think he gets the Comeback Award. Then I think Protector of the Year. I love this award. I think I'm really happy that this was added in. Congratulations to Deion Dawkins and those guys who pushed for it and were successful. I'm going to go with Hutchinson's teammate, Penei Sewell. I think he is just an absolute beast of a football player. I think he's one of the best football players in the NFL, regardless of position. So I'm going to go with Sewell right there. And I think the sack numbers with what he's allowed over this early portion of his career proved that, and he's just a monster in the run game. So I definitely think he is the elite tackle in the league. I would have considered Tristan Wirfs with Tampa Bay, but with him missing the early part of the year, I think that's going to hurt his chances of winning that award. But, I could see him definitely winning it next season. All right, Offensive Player of the Year. This one, this is a tough one because they like to give it to, an offensive player that they feel like is a MVP candidate, but not an MVP, but not the MVP, which I don't want to get into. It'll take too long about the criticisms I have of like the MVP award. But at any rate, I'm going with Joe Burrow on this one. I think he's going to have just a monster season in terms of production. I gave some consideration to Bijan Robinson. I could see him having a big year. At the same time, Atlanta's probably going to see a lot of heavy boxes as teams are going to try and dare Michael Penix to beat them. So Bijan is going to see a lot of 8-man fronts, I'm sure, which I think, might cause a slight depression in the numbers, but I still think he's going to have a huge year catching the ball. And he's just such an amazing athlete and player with a ton of upside, has young legs. I could see him just having a huge year, but I ended up going with Burrow because I feel like he's got everything around him to have a monster season. And I could see them being in a lot of shootouts and him having to put the team on his back and continue to throw for 4 quarters and just amassing some huge numbers. So I went with Burrow there. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going again with Aiden Hutchinson. I think he's going to have a monster season. I think he's just going to dominate. And I think him going against Penny Sewell and Taylor Decker every day in practice over these years has just turned him into a superb pass rusher and solid run defender, a guy with great motor. And I think, looking at what he did last year with 7.5 sacks and only a handful of games, like 5-6 games or something, he was on pace to get to 20 something last year. So definitely I think that he is going to be awesome this year and an elite player, and I have him for Defensive Player of the Year. Then for MVP, I have it going to Josh Allen. So I just think, Burrow, with the supporting cast he has, these kind of things work against some of the quarterbacks, so I could see that hurting Burrow in a debate between him and Josh Allen. Same thing with Lamar Jackson. He's got Derrick Henry. He's got these receivers and Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins. And then Mahomes, of course, similarly. And then Josh Allen obviously has a good running back in James Cook. He has some solid receivers, solid tight end, but he does not have the elite guys that some of the others do. He doesn't have a Jamar Chase kind of player. He doesn't have a Derrick Henry. I can see where if Buffalo wins, it's going to be more because of him, and he's going to have to carry the team on his own. So as a result, I predict Josh Allen wins the MVP, and we'll see if that's good enough to win the Super Bowl. But those are my preseason predictions. I'll be back soon with my win-loss predictions for divisions and wild cards and playoffs and Super Bowl and all that stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely let me know what you think below. Check out all our stuff on Walter Football. We got great fantasy coverage going up right now from Walt. I got a lot of preseason stuff going up on college players for the draft next year, so check all that out, and I'll be back with you soon.